Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hello. You're listening to the podcast. So there I was, which is obviously how all great aviation stories begin. This is Fig.
And repeat here. This is episode 69.
69.
Too busy for Officer Indoc.
With Doc.
Right.
Is that too many docs in a row?
It
Too
is
busy.
indeed. That's like too many F's in the same sentence.
Well, it was a fun interview. He was a Navy flight surgeon in a Marine Harrier Squadron. And actually, he didn't think he had anything to say. But boy, he had some good stories.
We had an hour plus of fun and frolic with Doc. And clearly a great guy. By the end of his time with the Black Sheep Squadron, they gave him a Marine piss cutter, which is the cover that we wear, the hat for those of you in the civilian world.
Yeah.
And you don't just get a Marine hat and get to wear it. That's a big honor, and I could see why they gave it to him.
Yeah, the Navy piss cutters are kind of a khaki, and the Marines they gave him a Marine one and said, "No, Doc, you wear this one. You're ours." That's pretty awesome. They obviously really respected Doc.
It was indeed. Hey, a couple quick admin announcements there, Fig. Our sponsor this week is Babbel, and for a limited time deal, our listeners get to start right now at 55% off their Babbel subscription to learn a foreign language at babbel.com/so there I was. We'll talk more about that during the show. And
that's huge. 55% is huge.
Right. And it's a great course. It helps you understand whether you're pronouncing it right. It's done by native speakers, and they help you from sounding like a doofus when you get over to a foreign country. So
I'm using it to enhance my Espanol.
I am working on my French because I spent so much time in France. So it's awesome. We want to thank Brad Silcott over at bdsaviationphotography.com. Go take a look at some of his amazing aviation shots. Those are good. 2 new pilots this week. Eric Fletcher and Jason Spears.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Indeed. Thank you. Your support helps keep these engines running. This is not a free proposition to put this podcast out. And your support means a lot to help us keep it up and going and getting it out to everybody. We got the merch store. We always talk about that. So therewas.us/merch. Got a glossary. Write to us with questions. Fig, sticks, repeat, all of that. Fig, you've got something I know you would like to talk about. You were on vacation up in Michigan and ran into a jet. And tell me about it. You told me about this, but tell everybody else about this.
So it's called Primal Outfitters. It's run by a former Marine. He is a combat Marine. He's a young man, and he's very very motivated. And Primal Outfitters is a nonprofit. It's in Southwest Michigan. Think South Haven area. They provide hunting, fishing, camping, and other outdoor adventures for veterans, active duty service members, first responders, Gold and Blue Star families, and they do it all at no cost to the client. It's all done by donations. Awesome. He runs 2 30-foot fishing boats out in Lake Michigan right now. And when fishing season's over, he does whitetail hunting, camping, trapping, waterfowl. It's his full-time job. And he's an amazing Marine, first of all. And I got so motivated. I will give out the phone number, which is 269-767-4796. And we'll put our email up, his email up, but it's theprimaloutfitters@gmail.com.
Nice.
He's got a Facebook page too, The Primal Outfitters, Inc.
Nice. Okay. Oh, boy, if you know a first responder or a Gold Star, Blue Star family or someone who could benefit from that, oh, my goodness. That is
huge.
Awesome.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. No cost. And
thank you so much for doing that. And that sounds like an amazing program.
The night I met him, he had just finished a fishing charter, and it was with a former state patrol officer who lost both legs he was hit by a drunk driver while he was helping somebody on the side of the road. Anyway, he said, I didn't think I could ever go fishing again. And anyway, he figured out a way to get this dude on his boat. He showed me how they did it. And he went out, caught salmon and big trout that day. And this dude had a grin on his face from ear to ear. But this guy thinks outside the box. So don't let any physical handicap slow you down if you think you might be interested in doing something with Primal Outfitters.
Reach out to him. It sounds like he's going to make it happen for you.
Absolutely.
Wow. Very cool. Well, this was a special week. We got to, you know what? Before we do that, let's go back to talk about where you were yesterday and with whom.
So I'm at the air show in Kansas City, Blue Angel Air Show, and I'm walking down the ramp looking at the static displays, and what is standing right in front of me but YL-37. It's a
Why does that sound familiar?
I know, right? It's a UH-34 that was flown by all the guys that flew in combat with the Ugly Angels. It's a flying memorial, basically. And I stood in it. It's something. I feel like I was just standing in front of something so special. I couldn't even put words to it. They're having a final Ugly Angels reunion on the 6th of October in Inola, Oklahoma, which is where the helicopter's based. It's the YL-37 Group Foundation, and I just stumbled upon it. Had no idea it was going to be there. Duber had that airplane or that helicopter up at his place as I was coming back from Michigan, so I missed it. They had a little fly-in, but it's the same helicopter, and the same guys flew it there. So I sent the pictures to Duber, and he's like, "We got to go." I don't think I can make it logistics wise. I think I'm going to be out of the country, but what a chance meeting that was, and how awesome.
So what's the date and place again?
6 October, and it's in Inola, 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 Oklahoma. It's just outside Tulsa.
Okay. Well, I don't know my schedule there yet, but that would be sure fun, even though I'm not an ugly angel, to get in there and talk to some of those gents, get their stories. Holy cow.
Holy cow's right. I know. And all those guys had time in this airplane. I think it said this is the only, let's see, 54 patches over bullet holes sustained in Vietnam. It operated out of all the major air bases in I Corps and off all the hospital ships and aircraft carriers. Rare aircraft served with Squadron HMM 362, who are known as the Ugly Angels, on her side. There's a plaque, and on the plaque, it's mounted on the side of the airplane, and on the plaque is the names of the 33 Marines of the Ugly Angels that lost their life in Vietnam.
Wow. What an amazing memorial. So cool. Well, we'll have more to talk about that. I think next week we got an amazing letter. I don't have permission to share it with anybody yet, but I hope that we can. Once I get permission to sanitize and share it, we got an amazing letter from one of our listeners this week. That was fun. And then the other thing I'm thinking of doing is we talked a couple weeks ago about Jungle Jim Ross with Intake.
Right.
And I have a recording from him from about 14 years ago. And I'm thinking I'm going to put that up for our Patreon listeners so that they can hear
the
interview with Jungle.
Dandy. Yeah.
So there I was.us/Patreon, trying to give them a little bit of extra here and there. They're throwing their hard-earned cash in our direction to help keep this show coming to everybody. So we appreciate that, gents and ladies. And we are more than happy to share that with you. So, Fig, we talked to a flight surgeon today. Those guys are amazing. They were with us. We were flying single seat jets, so obviously they weren't flying with us very much. I flew a few of them when I was an instructor in the T-Birds. That was always fun. I was not aware of how much of the stuff that they went through to do what they did to be flight surgeons.
Honestly, I wasn't either until Doc told us about it.
Yeah.
I have a whole new respect.
Right.
I always respected the flight surgeons anyway. Especially the ones like Doc that wanted to keep you flying, wanted the guys to be successful.
Right. Right. I mean, I joke about it at being in the show. I talk about, the best you can do when you talk to a doc is break even, right? You go for your flight physical. If everything's great, you get to keep flying. Otherwise, you may lose your ticket, your ability to fly. And it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of the way some guys looked at it. And they always went out of their way to keep us flying. And so that was appreciated.
Why don't we get out of the way and let's let Doc tell us stories.
Until next week, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight, and don't sit on
checks and seat handle, baby.
At night,
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
in the world's smallest cockpit, on the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
So there I was at the medical clinic at Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona, giving my XO a 2-fingered prostate exam.
Two fingers.
While he was singing Moon River.
I clinched when you said that.
I bet he doesn't send him flowers or call or anything anymore. And that's how all great aviation tales begin. Evening, everybody. Repeat here, coming to you from New Hampshire for another week or so anyway. I'm here with my co-hosts, Fig, who had a special day out yesterday with our guests, I understand.
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, we live fairly close to each other as far as that goes, and we were at the air show here in Kansas City, Blue Angel Air Show together. Spent most of the day sweating profusely, but yes, and so welcome, Doc. It's good to have you. We've been threatening to have him on for months, and he's been kind of wishy-washy with me, and he didn't back down today.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I don't have all these stories that some of your heroes have been telling you. So,
However, you do have stories, and everybody has good stories.
There you go. Signed up, jumped in. The good news is tonight, we're going to do a little more than break even, which is how we generally feel about going to see the flight quack, right, Fig? The best you can do is break even.
That's right. This is unique in more than one way. We've never had a flight surgeon on. We've had, with the exception of got
a couple Rios, a drill instructor,
the gunny drill instructor.
Yeah.
It's all been aviators. So this is just this is unique, and what's really awesome about this is you were a flight surgeon in a Marine Harrier Squadron.
That's right. The black sheep,
and not just any squadron, a historical one, right?
Yeah.
Not as historical as the Great American Bulldogs of VMA 223, but pretty close.
Right.
I guess that's right.
Well,
how'd you get there?
Yeah, so how's a good-looking medical student guy decide he's going to go in the Navy and be a flight surgeon? How does that look?
Well, I'll tell you, I had no interest in aviation at all, to tell you the truth. I was, dead set on becoming a doctor, from maybe the age of 10 or something.
Okay.
Wow.
And,
okay. That's so impressive.
Went to, got into med school, Creighton University, and after my second year, I started running out of money.
Weird.
So,
that's weird, right?
Yeah, I started running out of money. So I had to figure out what to do. So instead of getting loans, I got the Navy, the Health Profession Scholarship. And so what they do there is they will go ahead and they'll pay for your medical school, my last 2 years, and they'll pay for like books, and they'll give you a little stipend. And then if you do those years, then you owe them some money, some time back, not money, but time back. Yeah. So I got that scholarship, did my 2 years of med school, and then that's when I jumped into active duty after med school.
So you had a choice, though. I'm assuming into what part of the Navy and what kind of medical field you were going to go into. How does that work?
Well, really, in med school, all the med students have a match. They apply to different residencies and such. In the military, there was maybe 5 or 6 of us guys that had this health profession scholarship. We put our wish list in of which hospital we wanted to go to. There's Balboa in San Diego, there's Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and there's one or two. There's one in Texas or something. It's close to Fort Sam. I'm not sure.
Okay,
but there's some residencies. So you just wait. And at that time, I was very big into internal medicine. So I wanted to do all the numbers and help people out that way. So they said, okay, you got Bethesda too. Bethesda. Right. So I got Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And they said, okay, that's what you have. So they gave me orders to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And, the funny thing is during my years as a med student, after I got my scholarship, there had to be a time where I had to take 6 weeks off sometime, and I had to go to officer indoctrination school.
It was 6 weeks.
Oh,
okay.
6 weeks where they teach you how to be an officer. Yeah. They teach you about military history, how to march, saluting, everything. They teach you everything.
Right.
Well, I didn't have the time to do that. So I think, between your...
Hold on.
Here it comes. This is I got a little sneak peek of this. This is great.
Okay, I got to hear this. So,
oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah. You know what? Hold on. I just got to say, Fig, we were idiots. We didn't say to the Marine Corps. We didn't have time to go to OCS.
Yes. Well, so here's the thing, though. We are idiots. That's why we could never be a doctor and not do, get military indoctrination in 6 weeks. But it gets better.
Yeah.
Doesn't it,
well,
Doc?
My friends went, but I don't see how they went. I mean, I just didn't have the time between the, June and July. You ended 1 year and you went right to the next year, and you had to do a rotation in some sort of medical specialty. Okay. So by the time I was done with med school, well, let's back up. My 4th year of med school was the time that you could take 30-day rotations at different hospitals doing different, specialties. So my good buddy and I were going to go down to Balboa in San Diego, and I was going to do a nephrology rotation. It's 30 days.
What is that?
It's like dead people and shit, isn't it?
No, that's kidneys.
Oh, nephrology is kidneys. Yeah.
Okay.
Necrology. I'm thinking that.
That's right.
Never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, we are so far out of our comfort zone right now, Doc. Be gentle, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, one finger, please.
Don't clench, repeat.
Right.
Stay relaxed.
So that's a good thing about med school. The first 2 years are books, and you have to pass all the tests. The second 2 years are easier. It's a slide down. You just do all these rotations in different specialties, and it's not as much studying, and you learn, hands-on type things. So, so I went to San Diego, and there was one guy who was an intern there who taught us all what we needed to know on how to be an officer in one evening.
Wait, hold. Did you catch that repeat?
Hold on, I think my headphones are screwed up because he said one evening.
Did that suffice for your not going to the 6 weeks of charm school?
Well, I never was made to march, so that was good. So that evening, the evening before my first day, he taught me how to wear my uniform. So I had no clue where to put anything.
Right.
And he taught us, who we should salute. and who we shouldn't salute. And so that didn't go so well, because when I got there the first day,
Started saluting chiefs and stuff.
What was that?
You started saluting a bunch of chiefs and stuff because they got shiny crap on their collar, or
Oh, well, that was close. Yes. No. It was basically when you're walking down the street or the sidewalk and you see someone coming at you and you're not sure what to do. They have their white, board hat on. You cross the street so you don't have to worry about salute. So I did a lot of crossing the street.
so you're lucky you weren't hit by a car crossing the street so much, right?
Sheesh. Yeah, that's right.
So you cross the street a lot.
And, got close. I think I saluted I was an ensign at that time. Was a student, I was an ensign. So I think I saluted some sort of chief or something a few times or whatever. But I think the big thing was you have to cross the street so you don't don't pass them, go from there. So I think it went well as time went by. I started learning, more and more. And so that was my officer indoctrination school. Just kind of get out there and do it. And then people would comment on your uniform and how to tuck it in and what to do. So I learned. Do
you have any idea how lucky you are? Whoever taught you didn't decide to royally screw with you.
That's true.
It teach you, that a first class petty officer wasn't an admiral, and
that is true. Now that
and one star is a seaman recruit, and
I knew that the flight surgeons didn't get a lot of training.
Yeah,
but I had no clue it was that minimal. How about that?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I was the outlier, though, because most of my friends went to officer indoctrination school. So they learned how to do all that.
Where was that? Where, if you would have gone, where would you have gone?
I don't know. I want to say Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So since I didn't go, I kind of put that out of my mind.
Boo! Dodge that bullet. Well, that was pretty awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I did my rotation. And, I passed and everything was good. But that was kind of stressful, not knowing how to be an officer, when people salute me, but
I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out.
So after my fourth year, I got selected to go to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. So,
and that's in Portsmouth, Virginia, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So that supported all the troops at Norfolk and all that area over there. Yeah, and I said that right, Norfolk. So
Norfolk. Yeah.
Norfolk. Yeah.
If you're in Nebraska, it's Norfolk.
Yeah.
If it's in Virginia, it's Norfolk. So I learned that. So anyway, was an internal medicine intern there. So same thing, you do different rotations. I'm on call every third night. And didn't have to wear the uniform very much because we just wore scrubs all the time. And my wife didn't see me very much. And when she did, I'd eat dinner at home and sleep on the couch, fall asleep on the couch.
So is this like an equivalent, the equivalent of an internship and then a residency? Is that what they were doing?
That's right.
Post-med school?
That's right.
Okay.
But most of us knew that we weren't going to get into a residency. There's only a few people that were going to stay in the hospital and go right to their internal medicine residency or their surgery residency, because I owed 3 years total. Okay. They gave me 2, I owed 3. And so most of us, some of us were hoping to stay in our residency, but they said, well, no, you owe 2 more years. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to a clinic somewhere and be a general medical officer and just do physicals and see colds? Or do you want to do undersea medicine or flight surgery? So after talking to mom and dad, and they said, hardly anyone gets to be a flight surgeon. What an experience you would have, and, do something other than just being in a medical clinic.
Right.
So said, great people you would be around all the time.
I know.
Those amazing fly boys.
So I really didn't have any interest or anything in aviation at that time. I mean, it's like, okay, I'll do flight surgery, whatever this is. I hate to say that, but
Yeah. No, hey, somebody's got
because it was always, go to medicine. I wanted, this was my goal, medicine and such. So,
So did anybody from the medical field give you any inkling that when you became a flight surgeon, it was going to be a lot like being a veterinarian, meaning your patients won't talk to you about what is wrong with them?
I learned that when I was at NAMI. I learned that when I went in flight surgery school. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. So hang on. We got to talk about NAMI. NAMI is the Naval Aeromedical Institute in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
And when a flight student goes there and gets selected for a physical from those folks, it is lovingly referred to as the what, Fig?
NAMI whammy.
Yeah, baby.
The NAMI whammy.
That's great.
It was so stressful when you went there. It was out of your control. If they find something that makes you not airworthy, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. You're done.
They like to look for it seemed, too. That was the worst of it.
Oh, dig under every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
I tell you, I had something wrong with my labs. They made me drink like a whole gallon of water before I could retest. And I was sick, but I passed. So,
all right. So I have to tell a story because it just triggered. Now, JJ was in the Doc Squadron.
Yep.
And JJ and I were really good friends from the basic school and all the way through flight school. But when we went to Pensacola, we went and did our NAMI physical together. Okay? Now, I'm telling you this because I played a horrible joke on him, and I felt horrible about it for like a half a second. So he was really, really worried about his hearing, about passing the hearing test. Not his eyes, nothing else. He was worried about hearing because he spent a lot of time around machinery on the farm, and he never wore hearing protection, and he really did have bad hearing. So they put us in the little hearing booth together, both of us at the same time. We were taking the test at the same time.
What could go wrong?
And I knew this was going to be my only chance to get to do this to him. So, the test is you're holding that little plunger, and you're supposed to push it every time you hear the right? And so I'm hearing mine, and then I'm whistling, and I'm seeing him, hitting it, and I'm whistling, and he's hitting it, and finally, the test's over. I know the test's over. The guy opens the door and he says, "You're good. You're good. You flunked. You're going to do it again." And I looked at JJ and went, "Dude, that sucks." And of course, he passes the next time because no one's in there.
Whistling.
And he comes out, and he's, and I go, "Dude, you know what I was doing when we were in there, right?" And he goes, "What?" I told him, and then I had to run because he was pissed. Good news is I was a lot faster than he was. He got over.
That's funny.
I tell you, that's great.
I
Anyway,
remember those.
Yeah. Oh, it's scary. Okay, so you go to NAMI, and that is your what happens there for you?
Yeah. Well, what they do is a few things. They try to teach you some aerospace medicine, what the pilots experience and what they could experience, what kind of pathology they could,
So do they make you go through all the dunkers and the spinning puke and the hypoxia chamber and all that stuff too?
Exactly. So
okay.
Oh, good.
They have us do the same thing that the pilots go through, or their pilot students or whatever go through.
Yeah.
The Dilbert dunker, the Hilo dunker, and land survival.
What? Really?
Oh yeah, sea and water survival, the whole parachute thing.
Nice.
Treading water. You got to swim a mile.
Yeah.
In your flight suit, the whole thing.
I think I just thawed out from water survival about 2 weeks ago.
Your stock just went up a little bit. I had no idea you actually got to do all that or had to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. We spent a lot of time in the pool and out Pensacola Bay or whatever.
Yeah.
The SAR had to pick us up once. We had to do that routine and.
Yep. Hey, when did you do that? What time frame was that?
But it was July 1990 to January 91. That was the same time Desert Shield and Desert Storm was going on.
Okay.
August.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah.
So
July to when?
What January? January.
Gosh, so that was a significant amount of time down there.
Yeah, 6 months. So you learn aerospace medicine. You try to go over a lot of topics that anything, psychology. Our job was to learn how to take care of the pilots, and of course the whole squadron. But the pilots, as you guys know, are the major asset of any squadron. But they wanted us to learn what the pilots were going through as far as training also. So we had to learn how to fly also. So we, did the T-34 Charlie. We did the land, sea survival, all that too. So
did they take you guys through solo? Did you get to solo on the T-34?
I missed it by 1 day. So I didn't get to solo, but I got 13 FAMs. I guess there's the 14th FAM
sounds right.
Is a solo, something like that.
Wow.
So it rained so much in January that year that we had a hard time getting up and stuff. But that was kind of fun. We learned all the high altitude power loss, low altitude power loss, all that stuff too. So then at that time, all the pilots obviously go to fixed wing or helo, and we go to the fleet. So we're done. After we learn how to fly and we got all that stuff done, we go to the fleet. And all I remember is there was, I don't think we got to pick where we went. We might have had a wish list or something. I don't remember what I wished for. I know a lot of people were, saying F-18D, F-18D. That's when the Ds were coming out.
Because there's two seats, and you get, flight surgeons get right in the back seat.
True. But I remember one of the guys in my class, since Desert Shield and Desert Storm was brewing, he said that he wanted Diego Garcia.
Okay.
He wanted to go there because he knew that was safe from the war.
Okay.
So I don't know if he got it, but he just kept hoping. And all the rest of us, like, yeah, just give us anything. We're good. But I know he wanted to go to Diego Garcia, and it's a little outpost in the Indian Ocean, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. And I hope he got to go because,
I hope he had fun.
I hope he had fun.
Oh, man.
Well, I know where. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know how it got chosen, but they said, okay, you got VMA 214. And so I came home to my wife and I said, I've got some good news and bad news.
I know what the bad news is. What did you tell her the good news?
No, I said, I got Harriers, I got Harriers, VMA 214,
Yeah, the
Black I'm psyched,
Black Sheep Squadron.
It's in Yuma, Arizona.
And then she cried.
Heat, hot, So we didn't know much about that. But.
Of course, this was January, so it was probably
it's pleasant for 3 days there in January, I think.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but So I think
cool.
Going back, I think the first time I ever really got a kind of a desire for naval aviation was maybe the first week that we got to Pensacola to go to NAMI for school. The air show, the Blue Angels were there. So it was like, okay, let's go see the air show. So I took my, of course, my wife and I think he was 4 months at that time in a little stroller. And the first thing I remember was the one solo pilot coming straight over us and louder than ever.
Yeah.
We had no hearing protection or anything, but
sent him right through the roof of his
man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so that's what hooked me right there. So when I'm listening to your podcast, Lawman, Intake, the Blue Angel stories and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a little bit near to my heart because that was the first, I guess my first foray into aviation, the Blue Angel show,
That's the best one you'll ever see right there on the beach.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think one of your other guests didn't know when the Harriers got night vision goggles. When I got to the Black Sheep in February of, 91?
February 9th.
They already had night vision goggles and such then. So I'm not sure when they it was new, but
The West Coast stood up the NVGs first. The night attack jets first went out to Yuma. I remember that because Fig and I only flew the day attack at 223.
Yep.
gotcha.
Well, we flew it at night, but we just couldn't see shit.
We were doing really smart stuff like bombing underneath flares.
Yeah.
And
One
then
guy
trying
drops
to join
flares, and then we go bomb.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What could
and then
go wrong?
joining back up in the dark after your rods and cones are washed out.
Yeah,
What could go wrong?
We don't need no stinking night vision.
Yeah.
that's right. So I had to learn about that too. But the bad thing was I didn't get any night vision goggle use in the Harrier because they only have one seat, as you know. So and then when VMAT 203 came out, of course, we didn't do any night vision stuff. And that's where I got my flight time in the Harrier was that
Okay.
T-bird.
when the East Coast came out, when the trainers came out, every once in a while, I could fly with them.
So you had a little bit of flight experience, and then you get in the Harrier, and it comes to a complete stop airborne. Tell me what that was like, because I can remember what it was like for me.
Well, most of the flight surgeons are like, "Oh, I want to get a cat shot, or I want to get a, But with the Harrier, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to hover. So it was fun. It was awesome. I mean, the pilot, I forget who was with me that day. I think it might have been Cutter or something, but he's like, "Okay, Doc, here we're going to hover. This is what you do." So he kind of told me what to do. I was in the back seat, of course. And so I got to hover for about 15 or 20 seconds and, and gave it back to him. I could check that off my bucket list.
And I'll tell you this much. If you never got a cat shot, when he put the power in the corner for takeoff in a Harrier, that was as close to a cat shot as I'd ever been in my life before or since. I mean, it was a little less violent, but not much.
Is that right?
Yeah. There is that much power when it puts you back in your seat a good 3 Gs.
It was impressive.
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed the Harrier. I think some of the runs we went on, I think we did a few bombing runs where, you kind of go inverted and you acquire the target, then you kind of nose down, and then you flip over and drop your bomb. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was good. I don't think I did any air-to-air in the Harrier. That was with the Aggressor Squadron and some of the others, but
okay.
But that was fun. I really enjoyed the Harrier.
So while we're talking about it, so the Aggressor Squadron out there in Yuma, they had F5s at the time, is that right?
Yes. And they had one 2-seater.
Okay, so you were flying in the back seat of the Aggressor. So you got to do a little air-to-air? Got to see some air-to-air action?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I think I don't know if this is just flight surgeons or just anyone, but there's a certain routine that you have to go through in order to set yourself up so you don't lose your cookies every time.
Okay.
So when you get in, you just have to make sure that your sleeves are they have Velcro on your sleeves.
Right.
Undo those.
Okay.
Bring your zipper down a little bit. And then I think there were air vents just outside. So you could grab a hold in front of you and a little further out. And there are air vents. So you had to make sure the air vents were pointing right up your sleeve.
Okay.
All right. So you can get as maximum air as much as you can.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, you practice beforehand, taking your O2 mask off as fast as you can. And you practice it and keep practicing it because you don't want to throw up in your O2 mask.
No, you don't want to do that.
And then you got to make sure your sickness bag is in that lower pocket on your ankle. All flight suits have that lower pocket. So it's ready and available at any time. So, but I remember, I only probably lost it once or twice. But there was a lot of times I came home, a little queasy, after, telling my wife that I'd flown or whatever. She always told me, never tell me when you're going to fly. Just tell me when you come back.
There you go.
Right. That's fair enough.
So she didn't have to worry. But,
I actually did that to my wife when our daughter slow loading gliders. I took her up to the airport that morning, and I knew she was going to solo, but we didn't tell my wife until after it was done, and I sent her video. Oh, didn't you know she was going to solo? I go, that was on purpose.
That's probably not bad. Not a bad idea. That's good.
Yeah, no, not at all. But oh man, I don't know about you, Fig. I've always been very fortunate. Knock wood. The only time I've ever been a little bit motion sick or queasy in my life is in a flight simulator when the motion doesn't match the visuals, when they're doing a reset or something like that. All the air-to-air that we did, and I used to ride in the back seat of the A4s before I got there, and before I got to that part of the syllabus, never bothered me once. And I remember keying the mic the first time I was with the Squadron XO. We were in a vertical scissors, and I'm looking up at the ground and the airplane below us. I keyed the mic, and he told me later, he was going, uh-oh, he's going to tell me he's sick, knock it off. I was like, this is awesome. He goes, all right, good. Keep going. So I was one of those people who was blessed with never having vestibular issues with motion sickness.
I can say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a true blessing.
yeah.
Because I watch guys suffer through that. Oh my God, it looked miserable.
We had peers. We both have peers.
Yeah.
They throwing up was just part of it. I'm going to throw up on this sortie. That's okay.
Yeah.
Throw up, put it in my pocket, and we're going to press on.
Yeah.
And then intake talking about the San Diego kicker puking on his displays.
Right.
Oh, man.
But I tell you, the F5 is where I got most of my flight time. For a flight surgeon, you have to have 4 hours a month.
Okay, that was going to be another question. So to keep your flight surgeon
flight status,
I guess
to keep from getting harassed by NAMI people.
Yeah, I don't know what happens when you don't get 4 hours. I think there was 1 or 2 months I didn't for various reasons, but nothing happens. But they tell you got to have 4 hours a month. So most of the time, if there was squadrons coming into Yuma, I would go to their squadron house and, hey, can I get a ride? And so I got some rides in a few things, obviously, and overseas I got some rides in some other things.
Yeah.
But the F5 is probably the most flight time, and I just remember I can only remember one flight, and I never was in the briefing beforehand. It was always, okay, Doc, suit up and let's go.
Yeah,
and so
show up at step time.
Yeah, right. It was a 2v2, two of the aggressors versus 2 Harriers. And he says, okay, we are going to go out together, but then one of us F5s is going to split off, and then we'll join up a little bit to the right, and then we'll attack them from, blah, 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 either side. I don't know what.
Yeah.
So I just remember I was in the back seat, and he goes, okay, Doc, I'm going to give you the controls. I said, okay, got him. He says, okay, I want you to turn right now. And I'm turning like Delta Airlines. I'm turning really slowly. Because
don't spill your martini.
Controls. And then he grabbed him back and just like yanked.
Right.
Bam.
Right.
Bounce your head off the canopy.
Little different.
I don't think he let me have the controls again. But the thing with that, is I think I got one F-18 ride. It was the same. Is you don't know what's going on, and so you just get thrown around, and You pull
Yeah,
some G's, and then you're left, then you're right, then you're up.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem.
Did you ever get your helmet bounced off the canopy because you didn't know it was coming?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
It must have been hard.
Yeah.
I was holding on tight.
Yeah. So I can tell you this, especially in the A4, it would roll. You could roll that airplane so fast you couldn't stop from banging your helmet on the canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
720 degrees per second.
Yeah.
2 full rolls per second. That was an awesome airplane.
You have the stick in your hand. You know it's coming. You go full throw, and your head hits the canopy.
How long were you guys in the A4s?
So we flew it as students, and then I went back to being an instructor in it. And then there was an OA4 Mike Squadron that at Cherry Point that I actually got stashed in for a little while. So I got a bunch of time in it there, too.
Yeah, so I just did my student time in it, and a little bit in the OA4 at Cherry Point, but maybe a month of riding around in it there. But probably. And what was the A4? This was probably close to a year, wasn't it? It's about 9 months to get through A4s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were going to get 125 or 30 hours in it, probably.
Yeah.
Fun to fly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
That's what I heard.
I missed having 1,000 hours in it by this much.
That's too bad.
I know.
Mon podcast, vous plaît? Which is French for, do you like my podcast? Now, let's say you want to chat up a pilot or simply order a croissant while soaring over Paris. How do you do that without making a crash landing into the language barrier? Well, the best way to learn a new language is through immersion. But unless you're planning on parachuting into a foreign country anytime soon, I'd recommend the second best way, Babbel. Because with Babbel, you can start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. And trust me, it's turbulence-free. This summer, I've been using Babbel to brush up on my French, for when I'm strolling through the streets of Paris. Why Babbel? Well, it's simple. It works. Instead of getting lost in the clouds with apps that play games with you, Babbel's 10-minute lessons, crafted by over 150 language experts, ensure that you're ready for real conversations. And if you're worried about nailing that French R or perfecting the accent, don't be. Babbel's advanced speech recognition is like having your own personal language coach in your pocket. It helps you perfect your pronunciation and ensures you sound authentically French. No more being the tourist who sounds like they're ordering a croissant instead of a croissant. Studies even prove that 15 hours with Babbel is equivalent to a full semester at college, and that's a lot fewer hours than it takes to fly to New York from Tokyo. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to navigate to babbel.com/so there I was. You won't need a pilot's license, just a sense of adventure. And here's a special limited time deal for our listeners to get you started right now. Get 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/so there I was. That's Babbel, Babbel, babbel.com/so there I was. Rules and restrictions may apply. Safe travels and happy landings in your new language journey. So you mentioned going overseas, though. So actually, let me back up for just a second. I learned something here. They sent you to 214. I didn't realize that the Navy controlled that. I thought they gave you all to the Marine Corps wing or group, and then they spit you into whatever squadron or whatever space they needed. I didn't realize that either. Yeah, that's kind of neat that the Navy says, who needs it?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. I just had orders.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. But then, so you went overseas on a Air Force calls it UDP. We just call it a Westpac deployment for 6 months to Iwakuni. Was that where you?
Yeah, went to Iwakuni. We spent about 3 months there. We spent about the other 4 months in Kadena. I think you guys would know that. They probably handle the Harrier a little bit better than Iwakuni. I'm not sure. But I spent 4 months in Kadena, which was the Air Force base there in Okinawa. That was fun. Just in Iwakuni, the medical department consisted of me and 2 corpsmen, and the two corpsmen that I had were great. And we had like one huge hangar to ourselves.
Nice. Okay.
It was empty, and I didn't spend much time there. Just spent time, walking around and most of the time in the ready room and with the pilots and stuff.
So explain what a corpsman is to our listeners.
Corpsman is a Navy, kind of like a medic. They learn, some, like in EMT, they learn, EMT type stuff. So I always had 2 of those. They could start IVs or take care of first aid, anything like that.
They could do sutures, things like that if needed.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So, but they weren't utilized very much because we had a pretty healthy crew. I think the enlisted folks in the Black Sheep, they kind of went to them more than they went to me.
Okay.
I think they could kind of gel with their enlisted buddies and stuff like that. So they walked around, and even though I walked around in all the spaces and made sure everything was fine, I spent a lot of the time with the pilots, making sure they were good. That's my job, to make sure that everyone's fine on the home front. They're psychologically healthy, physically healthy, things like that. So,
yeah. Of course, there's I mentioned this earlier. Most of the aviators weren't going to voluntarily tell you they had something that was going to be a disqualifying problem.
That's true. I think we learned at NAMI that they're your best. The flight surgeon is the best friend and the worst enemy. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's one of these things that we knew that we probably weren't told. I wasn't told everything.
Yeah.
And there's a few times where I grounded 1 or 2 pilots, and they were pissed off for sure. They went to the CO and complained, and luckily the CO backed me up. But you feel really bad when that happens, but you have to. But yeah, so we knew that we're enemy and the best friend, of course. But
right.
I got to tell you, all the pilots of the Black Sheep, most all of them, they took me in. They took care of me, and a good bunch of pilots. So I really enjoyed my time there. They took care of me.
Well, that's because that's because they trusted you and they liked you.
Right.
If they didn't, if they thought you were out to get them and not a good guy, not a guy that was going to try to keep them flying, then no, you wouldn't have got that reception.
Yeah, I think you're right. This may be against all regulations, but
here it comes.
Hold
on, let me hit record.
Get ready to delete. No, near the end of the my deployment, a handful of the guys gave me a Marine pea cutter to wear.
Nice.
And that's probably totally not. It's against the rules. Totally.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they gave you a green one because yours was a khaki color.
That's right.
Navy's was a khaki color. Yeah, they gave you that one.
That's right.
The olive drab, Charlie's green. Yeah. Very cool.
But I felt kind of funny doing that, but a few of them kept urging me to at least wear it a few times. So I did, but
nice.
I'd never admit to being a Marine. That's something that I would aspire to be, but I wasn't. So just to let everyone know.
No, well, look, when you're let in honorary, it's for a reason. Like Fig said, they trusted you, and you did good work with them. It didn't. That isn't handed out just for grins. There's no doubt about it. I
just felt so honored to be asked to do that. Like I said, so that touched me. That was something.
Well, in a classic example, what Fig's telling you is true. Remember our second show, Fig, with Sleeper.
Yep.
He actually jumped off a bridge on purpose from about 80 feet and was looking at the water when he hit.
In Iwakuni, by the way.
Yeah.
or somewhere around Iwakuni.
Yeah.
It might have been Okinawa.
near Iwakuni. Yeah,
bridge jumping was a thing when we. And by the way,
he couldn't. We think he broke his bones in his neck. He couldn't move his head for a week or 2 weeks. I just won't tell the flight surgeon. I'll be fine. I'll take myself off the flight schedule for a week, and then I'll be back at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We VMA 223 actually relieved your squadron in Westpac. That when you left, we showed up.
We met you guys there in May of '92.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are in the same squadron then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were in the same squadron. And as a matter of fact, J.J. Smith gave me his Benjo Bomber bike. It became my bike when you
Is
guys
that
left.
right?
Yeah, it was a peach.
Yep, everyone had one.
Yeah, you had to
There
have
you
it.
go.
Had to have it to get
That's
around.
the only way to get around. That's right.
That's right.
So,
So I think when I was overseas, I was able to get to the Philippines for 2 weeks, which was fun. There was just a few small mishaps. However, we were in Kadena, and I arranged with another flight surgeon to take care of my squadron when I was gone for 2 weeks. I pleaded with Sheriff, he was our CO at the time, to, hey, you're covered. This other guy's going to cover you. So about a few days when I was in the Philippines, I saw him in a Longapo. And he was not covering my squadron.
Oh, the other flight surgeon. Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
he's in Longapo in the Philippines with you. That's nice. Yeah.
Who's covered my squadron if you're here? Oh, no.
That's exactly right. So that didn't
Got
make
a
me
couple
too happy,
capable
but-
corpsmen back there. You're all good.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. No one, got hurt, or there was nothing too bad. So I had to explain to my CO what happened, though. But we did have a big mishap when I was overseas, though. We, I guess, some of the Harriers went down to Singapore and they did a static display.
Oh, I know that. I know what you're getting
At the air, static displayed in air show, which means not flying, but come look at our airplane. It's cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess Spiko, his Harrier caught on fire as they lifted off, and he ejected. And the Harrier landed in the jungle of Malaysia,
Across the border.
Across the border.
Oops.
So that meant a C-130 flight for all of us to go down there. He was fine. First night we got there, we were put up in this 4 or 5 star hotel, and we all loved it. Phones in the bathrooms. And
There's enough of that. No more of that.
yeah. But the second night, they found some old British quarters or something for us to live in. So we started to slum it then. But that was interesting because the next day when we were going to Malaysia from Singapore, there was about 20 of us, 20. That was the mishap team, I guess. And since I was done interviewing the pilot, and that's my job as a flight surgeon, I'm supposed to take care of the human factor and learn about the human factor in the mishap. What if the pilot had any problems, and if it was pilot error because of some psychological problem or physical medical issue. And so since that was over, I was down there, and so I became part of the team that was going to pick up all the shrapnel, all the broken up airplane. So we get to the border, and it took us a few hours, but they had a bus for us. And so we got in the bus in Malaysia, and they had an armed guard with an AK-47 on the bus. So we went about an hour into the jungle, and so we proceeded over the next 2 weeks to dig the Harrier out piece by piece. I think I sent you some pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to try and call that up now for those that are watching, and I won't bet at this point in the show for those that are not, but here we go. So we got that there, and
holy cow.
This picture that you have here, it's at the very end, and it looks like we're about 15 feet down, maybe more. That's how far we had to dig to get the Harrier out.
To get all the parts out.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, after seeing this picture, guess who took the picture? The guard with the AK-47. So he could have easily just mowed us down and buried us, and that would have been that,
Right.
But there's Travel and Santa there in that same picture. And then the guy from I think McDonnell Douglas, or he was one of the experts. He's the guy in the white shirt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know. It can't be
That wasn't the Rolls-Royce rep, because that was Bob Nidifer. Remember Bob?
Right. Yep. Yeah. He was in Iwakuni.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So how were there any big pieces left, or was it all pretty small pieces?
Yeah, the engine was pretty much intact. It was the biggest piece, but I think there were some other pictures that showed. Yeah, you can see all the little scraps that we were picking up and everything. And we put everything through sifters. All the dirt, we put it through sifters, but you can see all the small pieces.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a thing that a lot of people don't know, particularly about the Harrier, the sad thing about that, after a mishap like this, it was a carbon fiber airplane. And so
weight was very important. So
weight was very important. So the wings were carbon fiber, and basically you got these tiny little, almost microscopic threads of carbon fiber, of Kevlar. And when it got delaminated in a crash as it broke up, if you pick that up with your hands, that stuff would penetrate your skin and stay for days, weeks. It was miserable. So you had to have all that extra protective clothing in the heat of Malaysia, where it was, at least it was humid.
Jeez. Yeah, it was hot. So we did that every day. We went back and got our bus ride escorted to the site. And I was there just picking up, going 100 yards aft and forward, trying to figure out if there's any other pieces of the aircraft. So that was something for sure.
Ags, it's funny. Ags, right?
I don't know Axe.
Yeah, he was in your squadron.
Oh, Ags. Okay, I thought you said Axe. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I saw him in ops at one of our domiciles not too long ago, and that came up. That Spiko's ejection, because I think he was there. He was the wingman, or he was a witness to it.
Yeah, he was. Him and Hollywood.
Okay.
Someone else. Okay. What do you say about it?
No, he just said that, I said, you need to come on our podcast and tell your story. He goes, I don't really have any stories. I go, yes, you do. Everybody does. So, yeah, Ags, if you're listening, you're next, buddy.
Come on. So here's another cool thing. We've kind of buried the headline on this, though. Why is a doctor digging around in a crash site?
Exactly.
Why would you do that? What was your role there, other than physical labor to help? You got a medical degree. You don't need a man a shovel.
That's it. I don't know. What I really think happened was Spiko got on a plane to head toward Okinawa, and I was on a C-130 going down there. So I don't think I even did his physical at that time. So I was down there with the crew. They said, okay, all hands on deck. So
I told Spiko, you got to go to Olongapo and get your physical, man. Hurry down there.
Wow.
So, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm a warm body. So,
well, you were, but the fact is, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you were also on the investigation board, because you have a safety officer, a medical officer, a senior officer, and then your tech reps come in from Boeing, or not Boeing, from McDonnell Douglas and Rolls Royce and all.
That's right. I think I still have that report somewhere, or part of it or something.
Yeah. But, so the doc is an integral part to the investigation team as to what went on, and rules in physiological and all that kind of stuff too. So
when you first see the pilot after the mishap, you do your thorough flight physical, you do blood work and such if needed. But then you have this questionnaire you give them also, and it has to do with what they ate 48 hours prior, all the way up to the mishap, how they slept, what they did. I mean, it's just very in depth of everything they did. So you can say, okay, well, you didn't have much sleep. Is that part of the problem? Or, they talked about, the home life and things like that too. But it was very, very in depth. Excuse me. So.
Yeah, you're any notion of privacy goes right out the window once you're involved in a mishap. And I'm aware of a couple, like, and the NTSB goes in and looks at a commercial one. They go so far as to look at when the pilot who was on layovers swiped their room key card to get in and out of their room. When were they sleeping? They go through their
text
credit
message,
card bills,
time,
text
train,
message,
everything,
all of it.
right?
Wow.
How long did you stay in 214? When did you leave 214?
It was 1993. So July of 1993. So I spent about 2 years there, roughly.
Okay.
And most of the time, what you do, the average day for a flight surgeon when you get back.
That just led right into one of my next questions.
Yeah.
What's a day in the flight surgeon's life in a Harrier squadron?
Well, yeah. When you're at home, when I was at Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma, in the morning you did clinic at the medical clinic. You went and you saw patients, and it was kind of a sick call most days. So you saw everyone, that came in. Okay. But there were a few days that you just saw the squadron wives or something like that. Family of the squadron. So, those days you'd see a few of the wives and whatever they had problems with or whatever. And of course, when you go to the squadron, the pilot's always, "Hey, Doc, did you take care of my wife?" Yeah. Did you take care of my wife?
Oh boy.
So there was time, that's how you joked, I guess. But
sure.
So in the morning, that's when you do clinic. And then in the clinic, there was some general medical officers, and they did clinic all day. The flight surgeons, we had our own office. We did clinic in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we dispersed to our squadrons. So after, in the general medical officers, they had to wear their khakis, whereas we flight surgeons, we wore our flight suits all day, of course.
Yeah, because you were badass. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we went to the squadron and hung out in the afternoon at the squadron, either getting flight time or just hanging out with the pilots or talking to a sergeant major or, just kind of doing the rounds, so to speak. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that time.
And that's when you would get the, "Hey, Doc, let me run this by you." So,
I got the creeping crotch rot, Doc.
Yeah, so
come look at
they
this.
They didn't want to go to the clinic. Hey, so every once in a while, when I have a bowel movement, I black out. When I wake up, there's blood in the stool. Is this bad? Nope, you're good, bro.
I'm sorry, listeners. You just can't control Fig some days.
I did that. Hey, I pulled that on a brand new, just as I was leaving 223, we got this brand new flight surgeon, and this he literally looked like he was 19 years old. Just greener than green. He probably got less than an hour of Navy officer training. And he shows up in the squadron one day, and I meet him right out of the gate, and I'm feeling kind of frisky. And I put that on him. I go, "Hey, you got time for a question?" He goes, Yeah, sure, yeah. So I said, "So let's, we found a corner ready when nobody." And I said, "So," and I said it just like that, but I said it very convincingly. And I saw the blood start to drain from his face when I told him. And I go, "I'm just shitting you, Doc." And he goes, "Oh, thank God."
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're kind of thrown in there. Yeah, we're just newbies, not knowing what to do, really. So it's good when people can take pity on you a little bit and help you out.
So before you left VMA 214 in July, you flew the Harrier out there, the T-Bird. You flew in an F5, and then was that where you flew in a CH-53? Was that in Yuma?
I believe it was, yeah. So that was my only night vision goggle flight with a CH-53. So I was in the back, and all I could see is this rectangular green window, and they would not let me get up and look out the front or anything. And I just a lot of thumping, and that was probably the scariest flight I've had.
Horrific.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Horrific. I see here you flew in an S3.
That was overseas. So
Did
I got
you get
flight
a cat?
in
Did you get a cat
S3.
shot?
We went right over Mount Pinatubo, and I guess a few months prior, it had erupted. So
it turned half the Philippines into the surface of the moon.
Yeah, a little thin layer of dust everywhere.
Did you fly off did you get a trap? And
not at all.
Oh shit.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got some time in a P3?
I guess P3 has like 21 seats. And someone just said, Hey Doc, we have one more seat to go. We're going to go to Osan for a shopping trip.
Well, there you go.
So okay, I'm on board. So you
spend
4 or 5 hours on board. You go there, you go shopping for,
get the tracksuit, the parka, the ski parka.
Got to get your Mr. Lim's custom made suit. Now, you were logging flight time though, right? Because you need it for. Oh yeah.
That's exactly right.
Hails to the yeah.
I got that in my logbook.
I was liking it to this. I was in Pensacola and my sister was living in Bermuda, and so I did a Space A flight while I was in the pool waiting to start flight school. I got a ride in a P3 to Bermuda. That night was the longest winter of my life. I was so cold in the back of that airplane.
Really?
It was up in the 25,000 foot range. There was no heat back there. They didn't heat it because all the electronic equipment needed to stay cool.
Oh, yeah.
We were all huddled by the cockpit door going, please let me stand next to the door next. Oh, God. And then the upside was we landed. They put the tail stand up, and this chief comes up the back ladder with a ice chest full of beer, and we all stood around drinking beers for about half an hour. Then I disappeared into the country. Never checked once for my passport, for nothing.
How about that?
Yeah.
I see you logged a little time in an F-18. So
just one flight, just one ride. And I think it was the least out of all of them because it was an air-to-air thing. And they went up and jostled around and letting,
that was great.
Did this, did that, and knock it off, and we went home. So I didn't see very much of anything. So, but I did get, I could check that off my list. But
there you go.
All right.
Well, that's one more ride than Fig and I got. And then,
that's right.
Yeah.
How about
the EA6B? We noticed that's there too. Did you get the front seat or the back seat?
It's just back seat on that one.
So not a lot of forward visibility, from what I understand.
Not too much.
Yeah. No. So was the guy sitting next to you in the back? Was he doing work? Making beeps and squeaks and geeking out, or was it
I know he was doing something, but
I know he was doing.
I was
something.
busy trying to look out the front.
Yeah.
Did he give you the old, hey Doc, here, don't touch anything, and right, just sit right here, don't touch anything.
Going to shut down the Pacific Coast here once you hit that button. When no TV signals for 1,000 miles.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, but we got home from Westpac end of May. What was it? 92.
Okay.
And that next month, that's when JJ had his mishap.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was about a week prior to my wife giving birth. And so,
oh my God,
I don't know who made the decision. I never asked, but they automatically assigned another flight surgeon to that investigation. So,
well, that was smart.
I would have been going up to Davenport or whatever, but
yeah.
They said, okay. My CO just said, okay, Doc, you're going to have a baby here in a few days. So why don't we're going to send someone else. So part of me wanted to go up there and represent, but the other part of me, I didn't want to see any part of it because he was a good friend of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible. We lost a good Marine.
Good guy. Really good guy.
We were in each other's weddings.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
And the tragedy of that one, not the whole thing was a damn tragedy, but the tragedy of that was his parents watched it happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were there at this, as he was leaving. So, JJ, thank you for your service. God bless and fair winds. So, well, that's a happy note.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think-
great. Yeah. Super.
Thanks a lot, Doc.
Yeah. Way to go.
Well, I got a lighter story to tell you. Maybe.
Well,
Let's
let's
get out of that.
Let's get out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the funniest things that happened. I think it was after we got back from Westpac and everything. Sheriff, I think he was still our CO at that time, but he was coming in from some other place. He was flying in a Harrier, and he was about ready to land. We were all in the ready room, and so we all decided to head out. About 20 of us, mostly pilots, but some of the crew. And so we lined up on near the runway so he could see us. And when he came in to land, we did an about face and dropped our flight suits and bent over and gave him the moon. So we call that the 21 moon salute.
Excellent. I was wondering what that was. The 21 moon salute.
I think that was pretty fun.
Farewell, Skipper.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome back.
Asshole.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I enjoyed my time. With the Black Sheep. There's some good guys you got to have on. I'm sure they have good stories.
We're working though. We're working that angle.
Yeah.
It's hard to nail people down. It's just everybody's got it's life. Everybody's busy. And,
Right. Life happens.
Yeah. So after you left VMA 214, you went to Balboa Naval Hospital in San Diego for a short stint.
Yeah. So that the year before, I think after I got back from my deployment, I had 1 year to go, and that's about the time that during this time I'm at VMA 214. I'm still going and going to Bethesda and spending a little bit of time in their derm department. I went to because that was my interest, dermatology, and I went to Balboa.
Well, when did that happen though? Because you were internal medicine,
That's true.
so when did that? How did that work? How did you decide?
It was during my internship. Yeah, backing up is during my internship year, and you have to do 1 month rotations in your internship year. The second half, I think in January, February, was a dermatology rotation, and the first day of my rotation, I go in, and I'm like, wow, everyone's happy, everyone's smiling and happy and energetic. Whereas in internal medicine, I mean, you're kind of beat down, So I've got something in my heart for internists and family practice, and my brother's a family practice. God bless him, man. He works hard and doesn't get paid for it, but. Anyway, so as soon as I got in and did that month rotation, I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Boom.
Nice.
Dermatology.
As an aside, I would like to say thank you for being a dermatologist because he is my dermatologist, RePete.
There you go.
It has been for like the last 24 years, 5 years.
Nice.
And we've got some stories.
You know what he says to me every single time he sees me naked? He says, "Holy shit, you have a lot of moles." He goes, "No, really, you have a lot of moles."
Say, Doc, that's not a mole. That's my.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
I thought that was a
man.
skin tag.
Yeah.
Skin tag, mole, whatever it is.
That's just a skin. That's not a skin tag. That's.
Hold on a second. We're talking about some personal. Let's stop right now.
That's right.
Okay, hang on, Fig. Let me mute you and turn your camera off, Doc.
Right.
Between you and me.
And do I have your permission? And, HIPAA, I got to get your permission.
Look,
You have my
Fig told
permission.
me earlier that
You have my
that
permission.
you have his permission. You can tell me anything about him. and,
No,
Hey,
and the people watching, they don't mind. They won't tell me.
do have a lot of fun when I come for my when I come for my semi-annual visits.
That's true.
We do have a lot of fun, and it's never dull. Let's just put it that way.
Nope.
Yeah. Fig and I, we kind of team up and play pranks on my medical assistants and stuff. So
Nice.
some are pretty good. Some are good.
Yeah.
Even though usually, if any of my patients are watching, I'm very,
Usually, I'm very professional.
Oh, he's very professional.
I like to have fun. I like to have fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Too, but
Yeah.
no. So you during that time you visit those residency programs and you interview while I'm a flight surgeon, and then that year the head of the dermatology department in San Diego called me personally and said, "Hey, would you like to come and join us?" So I did 3 years at the Naval Medical Center in San Diego in the dermatology department, learning dermatology.
Okay.
And then they said, "Well, you've done 3 years of training. You owe us 2 more."
What?
Yeah, of course. So they sent me up to Great Lakes Naval Hospital. That's in Waukegan, Illinois.
Yeah,
that's where the boot camp is. The Navy, one of the Navy boot camps.
Okay.
And so I spent 2 years up there, and so since the boot camp was there, I saw all their dermatology that they needed, but also I was in charge of disqualifying people if they had different conditions. Disqualifying them from getting in the military if their condition was bad or whatever. So I had to make that decision. So.
Okay, I thought of a technical question that you may or may not be able to answer. Tattoos. So I've been told. Say, my oldest son is a walking tattoo. I mean, he's covered literally, from the neck down, sleeves, legs, everything. And so I've heard, and tell me if this is true. Like dermatologists hate tattoos because you can't see what's happening on the skin, like a skin cancer growth, or so can you talk about that?
I don't mind tattoos. I mean, I have a lot of patients that have them.
Wrong answer.
Everybody has.
He wanted to be able to tell them that.
Everybody has tattoos now.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit tougher. So
Okay.
they say if you have a lot of moles, try not to get a tattoo. Where you have a number of moles, because if they change, you won't see them as quickly.
I can't ever have a tattoo.
So I've got a question that I don't think I've ever asked, but I've always wondered.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Yeah, no. Why does a tattoo work? It seems to me if you inject ink, you cut your skin, it grows back. It seems to me if you inject ink, it would eventually go away. How does that work? What's the physiology behind a tattoo being a permanent thing?
Well, it's like buckshot.
Okay.
Or, it's like gunpowder getting, it's just the particles are too large for your immune system and for your white blood cells to take it out. And they just stay there. So even though you have skin cells that are regenerating around it, you still have that particle. It's kind of engulfed in white blood cells and trying to, wall it off, but it goes nowhere.
And there's what, 4 layers to the skin? Now we're in medical school. 4 layers?
I guess you could say 4. Some people say 7, depending on how.
Okay. But it's a couple layers deep.
It is. It's in the dermis. So that's the mid layer of skin. So your epidermis is on top and your dermis is in the middle. So that's where it stays.
All right. What about tattoo removal?
Yeah.
How do you do tattoo removal?
That looked like it hurt.
Have you removed somebody's tattoo?
When I was a resident, we had some lasers that could, remove tattoos. And the way the laser works is it breaks up the particle small enough that your immune system can take it away.
Okay.
So they have some really cool lasers nowadays. There's a Pico laser that really breaks them up and does a really good job with a lot of tattoos. But I don't have that. It costs too much for me to buy. So.
More than a Mercedes.
Weird.
That's
right.
All right. Well, thank you for that little.
Went down that rabbit hole, didn't we?
Well, tattoos. I don't have any, but if I had one and wanted it removed, I didn't know if you would cut it off, freeze it off, zap it. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Laser it off. That's right.
Laser it off. Okay.
There you go. I got my wings on my chest so that I would never be out of uniform. Just saying.
That's all right.
So
Well,
there,
Doc,
there.
I know you didn't think you had anything to talk about, but we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Talking
awesome.
about
man.
nothing.
No, this has all been good stuff, man.
Friday
Everybody
night at the
has
bar,
stories.
chatting with the flight quack, so he
We've
doesn't
never had
ground
a
us
flight
on Monday.
surgeon. I had no idea how you made a flight surgeon. What kind of
Apparently, you have to go to a cocktail party and someone tells you who to salute. I don't.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I didn't know that he damn near soloed a T-34, and he had to do all the dunkers, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is
The
cool.
whole thing. Yeah.
That is awesome.
All right, what kind of
Thank you
questions?
for stepping up, and thank you for your service. That's a big deal. That's not for nothing.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, you guys have some good guests on. I'm humbled by being on because the guests that you have, Captain Royce, Slav,
Oh my gosh.
Colonel Spicer, the whole group. That's something. You guys
We
do what it
are.
is. You guys
I'll tell
do
you,
good
we're the ones who are humbled. Every one of our guests has been outstanding, and we're right. Fig. We fell ass backwards into this deal.
Yeah,
And
we're
getting
I thought
to
it was
talk
going
to all these amazing people. That
I know. I thought it was going to be just a couple buffoons telling stories, and it ended up being really therapeutic for everyone. And thank you for sharing your stories. We've never had a flight surgeon on, I'm sure we got people out there going, "Well, shit, I never knew that." And a lot of our listeners aren't even aviators, so they're not even sure what a flight surgeon is. Well, now we know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Proud to be one. So,
Yeah.
just something different about having some brown shoes and a nice set of wings on your
Yes.
khakis,
Yes,
when
there
you're in
is.
dermatology or whatever. So, enjoyed my time. That's for sure.
Very cool stuff. Awesome. Well, we got a couple other thank yous we got to get out there tonight too, Fig. Thank you to our sponsor, Babel. We've got to thank Brad Silcott over at BDSaviationphotography.com. He has loaned us some photos. The main one on our website is his. He's got a lot of others, and I'll be bringing more of those to you as we update the website. Count them 2 new pilots this week on Patreon. Eric Flescher
That's awesome.
and Jason Spears. Yeah, indeed. Thank you. And
Thank you,
Fig,
gentlemen.
I just got a question for you. If you were, say, on the market for a bikini, where might thou go?
Well, I can tell you that my favorite bikini to date is the one you can get on our merch site that has the "So There I Was" logo all over it.
There
in
you go.
little bitty parts.
Right. So there I was.us/merch. Yeah. And you can get a bikini. You can get koozies. You can get a shirt like I'm wearing. You can get a hat, beer mugs, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, you name it. Go look, have some fun. If you don't see something that you want a "So There I Was" logo on, shoot us a question or shoot us an email at, how would you email you, Fig?
You could reach me at fig@sothereiwas.us.
There you go. Or you could also get the sticks at sothereiwas.us and me, repeat, REPETE, at sothereiwas.us. We have a glossary if we've mentioned a term like NAMI and didn't tell you what it meant. We'll put that up there. If you get a term that you didn't understand, let us know. We'll get it on the glossary. And send us a photo of where you are when you are listening. We'll get it up on the website. We got a real nice email and a photo from, or a screenshot from a gent earlier today. And I've got more to talk to him about that before we go any further. But wanted to do that. What's the other thing people need to do, Fig, so the word gets out?
Share the show. Share the show.
How
Share
hard
the
is
show.
that?
It's not hard. It's not hard
at all.
Doesn't cost anything. Just share the show.
Tell your friends. Put it on Facebook. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Threads. Put it anywhere and everywhere you can think of. Share the show. Tell them how much fun we're having.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you also to Backbeat Media. They get our sponsors for us. They have a couple other great shows, one of which is hosted by Dave Hamilton, the Mac Geek Gab. Another one is the Gig Gab and the Business Brain. Those are Dave Hamilton's shows over from Backbeat Media. And I'm trying to think. It always escapes me near the end.
Well, I know what that is, and that is the sound of the two
Greatness.
F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good.
Right.
The Dos Gringos.
Both of them.
Both of them.
The sound of greatness. That music is so much fun. And thank you to them for coming on our show, and more importantly, for letting us use their fantastic music. It is absolutely a privilege to be able to do that. Fig, what should we do? I'm thinking we need to start thinking about getting out of here. Until next week.
Don't sit on the ejection seat handle.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, Doc.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
What'd he say?
It's over.
Okay, heart sounds good. I'm just going to need you to drop your pants and we'll check your prostate.
What?
Drop your pants, turn around, and lean forward.
Okay. So how's this work? You just feel my pulse? What the hell was that?
And that's a prostate exam.
Shut up!
That's how a prostate exam is performed. Now, if you'll just let me...
Get away from me!